Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast. I am your sad host, Nick Z, over here. I'm sad because my Boston Celtics lost. Jason, I'm with you. You're here to cheer me up. How are you?
Good, man. Good. How can you complain? You just came off a championship. You were in the playoffs yet again.
Yeah,
Boston over the last 20 years has nothing to complain about. What do you got? 15 titles in the last 20 years?
yeah. I'm incredibly lucky, but it's just, I think part of me, it's because it was the Knicks.
Yeah, that hurts. That's like
Um,
that's like the Cubs losing to the Brewers or something.
so that kind of things. But like in some sick way, I think I'm just rooting for the Knicks. Because
Really?
they're not unlikable. I
No,
love
see, I've been for the last few years, and obviously for reasons of just great basketball. The West is where it's at, man. Minnesota's super likable. Oklahoma City super likable. Denver super likable. So I'm
yeah.
all in on the West teams right lately.
Okay. Well, we agree or disagree. So I'm going to tell you why I'm not rooting for the West,
Okay.
and it's going to be a segue into my cold double question of the week.
Okay.
So I don't want the West to win because I don't want Anthony Edwards and SGA to have the same amount of championships as Jason Tatum because I believe that he is better than the both of them. He's not better than SGA, but he's better than Anthony Edwards, like as a basketball player. So that brings me to my question. You're not allowed to say Derrick Rose.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what's the so also just some background. Last Monday, when my favorite team's best player tore his Achilles, Mr. Jason Tatum, I was at a concert, Kendrick Lamar and SZA. I get a message just like, "Oh shit," and I'm like, "Okay, like this could be anything." Oh, the Celtics
Yeah.
are because on GameCast it doesn't say Jason Tatum down. It
Right.
just score. It says timeout Celtics. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like they just went on a big run, whatever. It's fine. Like they're gonna lose the series anyway. Then I check Twitter and I'm just like, oh my God. So I want you to tell me what's the biggest injury that I don't want to say been a part of, but like for a team that you support that like either ruined something or like you know exactly where you were when it happened. All right.
Yep.
Maybe I'm thinking too much into this. Ready? Go. The music's not playing.
All right. Well, that one you kind of took it away from me because I was going to talk about Derrick Rose,
Yeah, no,
and
that was too easy.
that one's too easy. It's too recent. There's honestly the Chicago sports scene has been so deprived of anything great in the last 20 years that there really hasn't only been one thing that's been a Derrick Rose. So I'm gonna go back a little bit further. And as I was a young teen, non-Chicago Bear, my favorite team, and mostly because of this player, was the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino. Similar
Huh.
to Jason Tatum, tore his Achilles at the very near end of his career. And being a younger man in my life, I took it to heart, and it was one of those things where it's like, he was my
He was
favorite
your
football
guy.
player, and he was my guy, man. I loved him. He wasn't even on the Bears, and I just loved Dan Marino when he tore his Achilles.
Yeah. So the second one that came to mind for me was when Brady tore his ACL.
Okay.
It was like week one.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is like because like with the Brady one, it's like okay, it's a full season, and the same now. Like you're like he might come back the end of next season, but
Right.
like even then, I'm like just keep him up. Like let's just 2027 is
Yeah.
the next window. But yeah, so Yeah, I'm bummed, but you know what? It's baseball season. I can spend more time not worried about the Celtics. But
I
we'll
will
see what happens.
say, I will say, I think we had this talk like maybe it probably would have been like months ago, maybe even last season. You were like, "Oh, what is your favorite month for sports?" And
Yes.
I
Yes.
quickly said October. And I think you brought up like March or around this time of year.
Yeah, the
And
summers,
this,
the
like
beginning. Yeah.
this right now, I feel like I kind of get what you were talking about. I'm really, really enjoying. Maybe because I just don't have any horse in the race, but both NBA and NHL playoffs have been awesome to watch. Um, I've been
And you
really
can
enjoying.
even
We got
point at the NFL draft. Like
yeah,
that's kind of in this window, you know?
right.
So I think we found a window.
I think you're right, man. I think this is probably like a 1B to my 1A of October because this has
Yeah.
been really fun because we also have baseball going on, right? Like baseball's in full swing, so it's like we're getting all sorts of great sports stuff to content to talk about, and I love it. So I think I see where you're coming from on that. And I'm gonna put down. I don't want to say May because it's getting kind of late, but we'll go April. March and April is my
Yeah.
1B because March you get March Madness and stuff
Yep.
like that. So love it. All right. Well, speaking of baseball, we are like about 2 months, maybe we're over a quarter of the way through the season. Most teams, I think all teams have played obviously over 40 games. So we are actually one quarter of the way through the season. And I thought it would be a good time to talk about. We've also had a lot of, we've passed that Super 2 call up date and we've had a lot of injuries and we've seen a lot of prospects getting called up. So I think right now is a good time to kind of go through some of these recent call ups and as well as some of these guys that we might be stashing or have been stashing. And is it time to cut bait on some of these stashes or keep holding? There's a few of them that we're going to talk about here. But I think before we get into the stashes, let's talk about some of these call ups here. And honestly, a lot of these have come just in the last week. It
And
seems like
some of
every
it's
team.
down again.
Yeah, some of them been called up and then right back down again. Speaking of just a side note here, Matt Shaw was recalled by the Cubs, so he will be back. Hopefully, he's been on fire again at AAA, so hopefully that can transition back into Major League Baseball. He is not on the list today. We've talked enough about Matt Shaw on this podcast. I think he's been of the first
Him
like
and
8
Christian
episodes.
Campbell are like our two
Yeah.
mascots.
Matt Shaw has been, I think, at least talked about or at least mentioned at least once on every episode this season. So we're not going to talk about him too much because we just talked about him again right now. But first guy I want to talk about here is Jordan Lawlar of the Arizona Diamondbacks. As of right now, he doesn't quite have a permanent spot in that lineup. There's no major injuries where they can slide him in. But I think right now is he's going to be getting time at second, short, and third, and kind of just becoming that utility man that kind of just jumps around the diamond and gives some guys some breaks here and there. Between whether it be Kettle, I think they want to kind of give. Kettle Marte's always been one of those guys that's been like injury prone, so I'm sure he'll get a little bit more extra days off here and there. Got Eugenio Suarez, who's surprisingly back off to one of his great seasons so far this year. He get third base. So I think right now they're going to give him spots at second, short, and third, and just kind of jump around. I would guess he plays about 4 games a week.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting many more than that. But so far this year in the minor, he's slashing 336, 413, 579, 6 home runs, 13 solo bases. He was called up over the weekend, and right now he's 0 for 9 in his first 9 plate appearances. He does have a small sample size at the major league level. This is not his first call up. He is a 186 hitter at the MLB level. Small sample size both this year and his career, but so far right now, he does look a little overmatched at the major league level. Not sure what to do about him. In most redraft leagues, I let other people spend their fab on him. I'm not sold on him just yet. What'd say you?
I'm not targeting him when it comes to redraft at all. Like shortstops, what's kind of crazy, it's pretty deep this year. Like there have been some overperformers that are kind of be like Jorge Polanco, like last year, I would say yes, go and replace that level player with Jordan Lawlar. But there's not that many of those anymore for this year. But yeah, I saw a funny tweet today, and it said Jordan Lawlar with a game that would make Justin Martinez jealous. And it was referring to his 5 whiffs on a slider. So he's only faced one fastball. One. The
Wow.
rest are all breaking pitches.
The book
So
is out, huh?
clearly the book is out. So now we kind of just need to give him grace and like a week to adjust, because
Yep.
baseball is a game full of adjustments. And my only concern is, since like he doesn't like have like a spot, like he's got a spot, but like you said, it might be at short, might be at second, might be at third. So he needs to worry about hitting at this point. So I think we just need to see him get in a little groove. And once that happens, I mean, the guy can hit. So it's just a matter of time, but he's too good for AAA. So like they need to use him because of one, the prospect pedigree here. He's still crazy young. So it's not like a bust type of thing. It's just more, let's just give him a chance for the next like 3 weeks and see where we're at.
Yeah, I mean the good thing about Lawlar too is he is going to a fully loaded lineup. That Diamondbacks team scores runs and scores lots of runs. So if he can somehow find his way on base in some of these games, good chance he's going to come around and score. And I wanted to quickly look at talk about the let other people spend their money. I wanted to see how much he went for in TGFBI. He went. Oh, actually, someone's been stashing him, so I can't even give you that. But
Oh wow.
yeah, someone's been stashing him since the second week, I believe.
That's kind of crazy to me. Who's his shortstop? Can you see?
Since 4/13, he's been stashing them. I don't know how to loot on. I can't stand an FBC. How do you see other people's lineups? I don't even know how to even do that. But yeah, he's been stashing him.
Jordan Lawlar went for 58 in mine.
Okay, so not as high as I thought. I thought for sure he'd be a triple digit buy. But I think I feel like a lot of people kind of think what we think, and that maybe a little concerned about the playing time, some concerns about the productivity. But as of now, yeah, I did not target him this week, and actually I couldn't have targeted him even if I wanted to. I didn't even look for him on the waiver wire because I just was not a part of getting in on Jordan Lawlar. I don't think until he can prove that he can hit at the major league level, I just want no part of him. Or he has a full-time job, I just want no part of him.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yep. All right, we'll go on to our next person here, and it's a little bit of a homerism, like every on deck circle. We gotta have some homerisms here, right? That's Cade Horton of the Cubs. The Cubs' #1 pitching prospect made his debut last week. It was kind of funny. The first game, they gave him an opener, and then I think I don't know why, but my instinct says they didn't want him to face like Lindor, Soto, and I don't know who the third hitter is from the Mets. Like that first inning, I don't think they wanted his first major league inning to face off against Lindor and Soto. So maybe Alonso. I'm not sure who the 3 hitter is, but yeah, he had an opener in his first start. His second game, he actually did start on this past Saturday against the crosstown rivals of the White Sox.
Great matchup.
yeah, you would think. But yeah, he was a former first round pick back in 2022, and he's had actually great success at all the levels of the minors. But in those first 2 games so far, you can't even really chalk it up to bad matchups because the Mets are bad, but the White Sox are abysmal. He's only got 7 Ks, 6 earned. However, no walks. So there is a little bit of some. I mean, if you watch the games, he didn't pitch bad, but he's not like one of those dominant starting pitchers out performances that you want to see. The good thing is, I don't think I think we're still probably about a month away at least from Shota coming back from injury. Craig Counsell came out and said that probably by mid-June at the earliest we'd see Shota. So he's still got at least another handful of starts.
Yeah.
To show that he can belong and take a hold of this rotation spot. Because right now we got like Colin Ray, who's been awesome. But if Cade Horton can perform well, I think he would bump Colin Ray back to the bullpen. I'm in on Horton. I tried getting him in a lot of leagues this past week in waiver wires. Unfortunately, I missed out on a lot of him. His stuff is great. I think it'll just take some time, some adjustment period into the major league. And you're facing major league hitters versus AAA hitters. Might take some time for adjustment, but I am in on Horton. Let me see real quick why I didn't get him. That's because actually get this. I missed out on him by $3. I bid 42. He went.
Oh, come on. You got to go 47.
He went 40. He went for 45. I went for 42. I probably should have, because I was a little worried. Just on when it does come back if he sticks around. So I didn't want to go too deep on him. But yeah, I missed by $3. Cade Horton, $45 this past week for Fab. How about what do you think about Cade Horton? You in or out?
I'm mostly out when it comes to acquire. So all depends for redraft out just because pitching in general is too volatile, and I'd rather just stick with the arms that I know when it comes to like regular leagues. Maybe like at a NFC, like a TJFBI would be one that I would take a flyer on.
Sure, 15 leagues.
Yeah, Dynasty, honestly, I'm kind of a churn and burn for pitching prospects. So right now would be the time that I trade him just because value, unless he's Paul Skeens, and I don't think he's Paul Skeens, but that's like not. There's not many people that are. But ceiling wise, I can see him being like a low end SP1, high end SP2. Like,
I think in Dynasty, he's not someone I would be trying to trade for. Like I said, I think if I had him, I definitely see if I can get something in return, maybe more established pitcher, a young established pitcher.
Yes, exactly. Just because it's such a pitching prospects are such. So I'm just going to use it as an example. I've had Jack Leiter on my Dynasty team for since he's been up. Haven't traded him. Whatever. He's been good. He's been bad. He's been good. He's been bad because he's a young pitcher. Someone sent me Felix Bautista for Jack Leiter yesterday. I hit accept as soon as I could. It was during Jack Leiter's best. I think he had a no-hitter through 7. But still, it's just a matter of those young rookie pitchers are so hard to value because they're going to get rocked every so often. So it's just a matter of if you're willing to get rocked with them, if you're going to bench them when they have a start, and just because they just need to figure out how to pitch in the major leagues because it's completely different. So because their stuff can just get them by in the minors, But when you're facing Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, and I'll even get and Lindor, that's completely different game, completely different planet. So any pitcher that we talk about today, I'm most likely going to be selling.
Yeah, and the thing too with some of these young pitchers, he's still so young, right? Like he was a college pitcher, but he's still only 2 full years in the minor, not even 2 full years, because he probably didn't even pitch in 2022 and he got drafted. So he really only had 2 full years at the minor league level. So and then when you go and you bring these guys up, most of the times they aren't going through the lineup more than twice most. So you're talking 5, maybe 6 innings. So if you're even in a quality start league, you aren't probably going to get a lot of quality starts from these young pitchers. They just don't get that chance to go 3 times through the lineup. Most managers want to ease on the side of caution and just get them out of there before they even have a chance, because major league hitters will make those adjustments to whatever they were getting out on in the first 2 times. So I think a lot of times with these younger pitchers, you got to kind of, take what you get from them, and then hopefully that you're in a win league, possibly, and get them through 5 innings or 6 innings the most. That's one other downfall with the young pitchers. But talking about more young pitchers, let's jump over to our next guy here, Noah Cameron of the Kansas City Royals. Another top pitching prospect, made his presence known lately as the Royals' 5th-ranked prospect. Noah Cameron came up. Big left-handed pitcher. He's already made 2 starts this year, and both of them have been superb when it comes to MLB quality pitching versus fantasy. The strikeout numbers have not been great. That's one of the things, obviously you got to take what you can get. And right now he's only striking out 20% of the batters. I think he has 6 Ks or 5 Ks, something like that. I couldn't remember, but it's real low. But when you look at his real life stats, 12.2 innings, only giving up 3 hits. And in his first start, he had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning. So very effective from a pitching standpoint, but for fantasy relevancy, obviously I like to see my starting pitchers with a little bit more K upside. I think a lot of that too, that's a little bit of concern I have too, is he's a soft tosser. Doesn't have really high end velocity. I think his fastball sits like low to mid 90s the best. But yeah, I mean, I like what I've seen from him, and in these deep leagues, like I'm pretty sure I got him in TGFBI. I honestly can't even remember now. I put so many bids on him throughout the many leagues that I'm in this last week because he got called up, and I believe he may be sticking around. So I do like what I see from Noah Cameron. And honestly, I was thinking about this when I was doing some more research about soft tossers. And with all this high velocity in the major league level, and hitters are catching up to it, I feel like a lot of them are reverting back, and a lot of the soft tossers we're seeing have more success than they have in the past, because I feel like almost the hitters are caught off guard when it comes in at 92 versus 97. Maybe that's just me and my theory in my own head, but it's kind of crazy how something soft. Like, look at sort of Imanaga for the Cubs. I mean, he's the same way. He throws low 90s and he gets great success. So I'm in on Cameron as far as redraft goes, especially in a deep redraft league or like a mono league. But for shallow 10 and 12, I'm going to need to see some more K upside with him.
Yeah. Full complete honesty, I didn't know who the hell Noah Cameron was when you sent me the list of people.
Okay.
Like that could be because I've been checked out, like paying attention to like other things.
And he's not a top 100 prospect. He was like,
just kind of like one of those guys, like who came up. Do you know who he reminds me of? Sean Burke for the White Sox.
Sure.
Kind of like the same type of like ascension, as in like top 10 team prospect. Yep. Doesn't throw incredibly hard, throws strikes, gets soft contact, which is great. You definitely need that. But to kind of go off your velocity thing is, this is great to have on your team just because limits the Tommy John.
Yeah.
Like I think these low end velocity guys are going to be a thing, and it's just a matter of like adapting. And I think teams are going to start, if a pitcher throws like 92, just be like, why don't you just like bring it down a little bit more? Like,
right.
I'd rather bring a guy down than try and have him throw up. So definitely interested to see if this continues to work for him, for Cameron, because we've seen this year. Sean Burke's been kind of like not great. I feel like he might have like a 6 ERA, but it is the White Sox. Right. But definitely interested in seeing how the rest of this first half of the season goes for Cameron, and for the second half, just to see kind of, because he could be a guy that we're hearing about next draft season. That's like, oh, this guy's going to take a next step. He's going to be Spencer Schwellenbach. He's going to be no. You know what? There's going to be a CBS Sports article, and it's going to be like, the algorithm I used to spot Spencer Schwellenbach's breakout, :
yeah,
Noah Cameron. And I'm just going to be like, nah.
Yeah, exactly. It's curious to see what's going to happen with him the rest of the way, too. I know Seth Lugo's dealing with an injury, but right now they've kind of just been bringing him up and down because he has options and kind of using him sporadically. So like I said, he was called up about maybe 2-3 weeks ago, made a start, sent back down, was up, I think, over the weekend. And as of right now, I believe he's still with the team. I don't know what's going on with him yet, but he may be sent back down as well. He's one of those guys that right now he's just like coming up and making spot starts. So as of now, we'll see what happens going forward. But as of now, I'm in on him for redress, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe he starts to get a little bit more swing and miss in that profile. We'll see. All right, before we go on here, before we take care of some business, you want to become an all-access member today at thefantasysixpack.net. You can get access to all sorts of great things like player rankings, rest of season rankings, dynasty rankings, prospect rankings, Right now, not football season, but you get a lot of great football content. You get access to our Discord. You can go ahead and ask Nick Z how the Discord's been going. We get a lot of great
Yeah.
custom advice going on in those leagues. People can come in and drop their questions. You got analysts at the ready for any sort of custom questions. In order to get access to those Discord and all those other rankings and all that other great access, you got to head on over to fantasysixpack.net/plans, become an all-access member today. All right, going to the next guy here. I hate to do it, but I got to keep bringing up the homerisms, and that's just because that's all the Cubs have been calling people up. The next guy is Moises Ballesteros, another Cubs top prospect, made his debut this last weekend. He's the Cubs' 4th-ranked prospect. Ian Happ went on the IL, therefore we needed a DH. And what better than one of their young DH available hitters? He is technically catcher eligibility, but they just have no need for catcher right now. I think we're basically carrying 3 catchers on the roster as it is. But as of right now, I think it's just for Moises to DH. But Happ does have an oblique injury, which those can always be lingering and hang around for a while. And it could be 4 to 6 weeks before we see Happ again. So as of right now, I don't think they have anybody better to hit in that DH role. So he should be getting plenty of at-bats and plate appearances going forward. He should get a very nice extended look. So far in his 4 games so far, he is off to a slow start, however. Only 1 hit in his first 14 plate appearances. However, he does have a very nice approach to the plate. He's got 2 walks. He scored 3 times, and he has 2 RBIs. Before his promotion, though, in the minors, he was slashing 368, 420, 522, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. Again, like I said, very solid approach to the plate, really good eye, takes walks. So OBP leagues, definitely take a look at him. I think he's going to, at least get walks. If not, he should eventually start some hits here and get some RBIs. Going to bet lower in that lineup, obviously, but that lineup's just as good as any others in the Major League Baseball for scoring runs. So, however, I don't know what, depending on your league setting, if he's DH only, I have no interest in him. But if you can get him in a 2-catcher league, or even if you have a hole at your catcher position, he's catcher eligibility, which I think he should be because that's where he played majority of his time in the minors. I'm all in, especially a 2-catcher league. Absolutely, I would be all in on Ballesteros for the time being.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put my lab coat on. I'm gonna bring up an advanced stat.
Nice.
Little XBA,
nice,
which is expected batting average. He's batting 310 for expected. That's great.
Yeah.
He's a young hitter. He's got a great approach. No strikeouts yet. Just like what's not to, and this guy, what a look. Little,
little thick boy.
Could it be like a baby Schwarber? Do you just have, because he started as a catcher, right?
Yeah, he was drafted as a catcher.
I think we might have a baby Schwarbs, and his name is Moises. But yeah, I'm totally in here. I love guys that hit the ball, and I love the guys that get on base, and he's doing that. So definitely interested to see the long look and when Happ comes back. I'm curious what they do if they make. I don't know what like the outfield situations like there. I do know, which is off topic, and I want to pick your brain about it maybe in a future episode. PCA, what the hell?
Yeah. So the thing with him, everyone's like shocked about it, but in reality, I mean, he had a ton of prospect pedigree.
Oh, huge!
Yes.
I didn't expect this.
No, not this. The power was really shocking. The speed, the defense, the on base has been always really good. The power is what's shocking. Yeah, I mean, I love it. There's been a ton. Obviously, the local market's going crazy for him. There was even a topic on the local news today, sports news, about him possibly being right now the most favorite sports athlete in Chicago, exceeding Caleb Williams.
Honestly, I mean, it doesn't help that article that came about Caleb Williams last week. But yeah, man, this is the Jared Kelenic that was promised.
Right. Yep.
And did you get him from the Mets? Did I make that up?
Yeah. Yep. We traded the Mets traded away PCA for 2 months of Javier Baez. Javier Baez.
Oh my God, That's a good one.
Yeah, you
Wow.
like that. That's a good one for sure. Yeah, when the Mets traded away Kalenic, they were like,
It was Edwin Diaz for that. Yeah.
yeah, it was. I can remember being like, telling some people, well, don't worry, they have PCA, they got Pico Armstrong. He's Kalenic coming in a couple of years, and then Kalenic has obviously done nothing, and every stop that he's gone, and PCA is now turning out to be, like you said, what Kalenic was supposed to be: power, speed, defense, and at this rate, possibly an MVP caliber player. Maybe not this year, but if the things continue this way, a couple of years from now.
Yeah. All right. Back to Moises. I'm in
Yeah.
love.
You know what's really shocking is I don't need two catchers in my TGFBI leagues. I want to see what he went for. I didn't target him. He didn't even get bid on this week. So that's goes kind of shows you where people think about him.
Could he not have been in the pool yet?
Now he was. He debuted, I think, Friday.
Okay.
And then also he's only owned in 28% of TGFBI NFBC leagues, which are deep two catcher leagues. And he is catcher eligible. I was curious about that. I thought maybe he was just DH eligible. No, he's catcher eligible. So if you need a catcher, it won't matter now because he may have a great week, and then he'll probably go for like over $100 next Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep the pitchers rolling here. Next guy we're going to talk about is another young pitching prospect. That's Mick Abel of the Philadelphia Phillies. As you can tell, the starting pitching landscape is just riddled with injuries across all teams, not just any. All teams have been riddled with injuries at the starting pitcher position, in which case we now have Aaron Nola going to the IL, and they brought up Mick Abel to take his place on Sunday. And he was everything that was promised. The Phillies' 8th ranked prospect and a former first-round pick went 6 scoreless innings, no walks, 9 Ks. He's got really nice top-tier velocity, sits like mid to upper 90s. His curveball is also a really great secondary offering, which he was flashing on Sunday. Unfortunately, he was sent back down to AAA. And get this. This is how – I don't know what the Phillies are thinking right now. The Phillies are now going to option to use Taijuan Walker in the Aaron Nola rotation spot over Mick Abel. Don't ask me why. I know that they owe Taijuan Walker probably $25 million a year. I still don't think that's the reason enough to put him in the rotation. But if I had to guess, based on Taijuan Walker's track record the last year or 2 years, it won't be a long demotion for Mick Abel.
Yeah. This was a guy that I just forgot about. Like when I saw it was like that, I was like, oh, because like obviously Painter has surpassed Abel, but like Abel was like the guy. So I'm very curious to see. I don't think we see Painter until like late summer anyway. But I would love to see like 3-4 more starts here from Abel just to see what we got, because their other top pitching prospect, I believe I spoke about him once, Moises Chance, just got Tommy John. So I wonder what they're going to do with Painter moving forward and now Abel, because they just lost their closer. So like, could they even move him to the pen? Like the stuff looked good.
Yep.
So very interested in the Phillies and what they do. They could even trade Abel, honestly, and like because we know that they have Dombo over there who just churns and burns every prospect. So just excited to see what happens.
Yeah, you make a good point, because right now they were using Taijuan Walker in that long relief role. And I wouldn't be shocked, especially as the summer goes on and they don't have a rotation spot for him. Let's say for whatever reason Taijuan Walker still can churn out like quality starts for them. He will definitely be back up at some point in the summer to be in that relief role at maybe a long relief or maybe even a high leverage as the season goes on. So, but I think he'd obviously be more suitable for fantasy purposes in that starting rotation. And we'll see what they do with him going forward. All right, let's get away from these pitchers here and get into some more hitters. This next guy is one of the highest ranked prospects we're going to talk about, and that's Dalton Rushing. He's the 15th overall ranked prospect in baseball. called up by the Dodgers last week. Of all people, the Dodgers calling up more prospects. Like they need more firepower. Although, did you see they just got swept by the Angels over the weekend for the
I
first time?
did. That was crazy.
I didn't see how long it's been, but it's been probably at least like 10 or 15 years or something like that since last time they were swept. But he did start 2 of his first 3 games, and honestly, it's been pretty good. He had 4 hits in his first 11 at plate appearances. He walked once and he scored 4 times. I mean, the scoring is not a surprise when you're getting on base. You're going to come around and score in that lineup. The only thing I have with Dalton Rushing right now is I just don't know where they find playing time for him. They got Will Smith at catcher. They got a slew of amounts of people to DH. I don't know how long he's up for. Again, they don't really have a need at catcher or DH, so I'm not quite sure. Unless maybe they want to kind of use him in that Jordan Lawlar role. We're just going to kind of give him DH roles and put Will. I don't know, because they know Ohtani to DH, Will Smith to catch, so they can't even really rotate a DH spot unless you want to give Ohtani days off. I don't know what their plan is with him, but he did start 2 of the first 3 games, but I don't know how long or how much playing time he gets.
Yeah, it's so funny because we're literally just talking catchers and starting pitchers today.
Yeah.
But they just cut. I think they DFA'd Chris Taylor, who's been with them forever. So I'm curious if they're just kind of make this guy that you make Rushing the like utility-ish.
Right.
Because I feel like he can play outfield, right? Yes.
I'm sure they'll probably move him around a little bit, kind of do like that, just give him that like that second catcher job where they can kind of like, give
and then
Will
move
Smith
the bat if they need it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have like catching prospects is kind of a blind spot for me. I'm kind of just like, okay, can they hit? If they can't, I'm good.
Right.
But he can hit. So I think they just need to find a way to put the that in their lineup.
Yeah, and TGFBI this week in a 2-catcher deep league, which TGFBI is, he only went for $29. The backup bid was $10. So even TGFBI is like, they can't waste too much money on Fab if this guy is only going to be up for like a week and then sent back down. So, or who knows? Maybe at some point they want to get. I don't know. Maybe I'll say Ohtani to only pitch on his days and not DH, and then they'd put Rushing at DH. But I don't know. How do you take Ohtani out of your lineup? I don't know. I guess maybe when he's pitching, you want to kind of give him a little bit more of a lighter workload, possibly. But I don't know. We saw him pitch and hit in the past, so we'll see. To be determined on that. That's a lot of the calls we've had over the last week or two. Time to get in some of these prospect stashes that we have. And why not start with one that I'm curious about and one that I'm sure a lot of people are curious about? Maybe you can give us a little insight on it. That's Roman Anthony, the number 1 prospect in baseball. He was supposed to make the opening day roster. Unfortunately, they were like, no. And now we've gotten past the Super 2 deadline, and they still haven't called him up. He's been at AAA, and he's just been doing nothing but raking at AAA. He's slashing 322, 446, 503, 5 home runs, 3 stolen bases, 17 RBIs, and 31 runs scored. His 31 runs scored would be second on the Red Sox behind only Bregman. He's also walking 19% of the time, and he almost has more walks than he does strikeouts. Please tell me what Boston is doing.
Man, it's so hard because I just don't know. I can't even come up with a thing for them to do.
Right.
As in, like, their outfield is pretty like set-ish for now.
Yep.
You can make the argument their second best hitter, third best hitter besides Bregman and Devers is Willie Abreu. That is the logical person to take out of the lineup. They are not going to take him out of the lineup.
Right.
Then you think, okay, let's get Rafaela out of there. But Rafaela is a top maybe 5 defensive center fielder.
Okay.
And I don't know. Abreu is a Gold Glover as well. So I'm curious if they can move him to center or put Duran back in center. But I just don't know where to put them. I guess the only thing they could do which is not happening, is put Rafael Devers at first base.
Right.
Because we also have not we haven't actually had a pod since this. Cassis just blew out his everything. So I think so now I don't know how informed you are.
It's almost
Christian
like
Campbell is
yep.
playing first base now. Has been working out at first base. So this is not going to be about Roman Anthony.
Yep.
But Marcelo Mayer will probably be up within the next week to play second base for the Red Sox.
And then Christian Campbell's going to scoot over to first?
Yeah. But this
so basically, this is just so do you think it's more about Roman Anthony's defense and center field, or is it more about they don't have anywhere to put him?
I don't think they have anywhere to put him. And they need to trade someone.
I'm saying, do you think they eventually trade somebody? And do you think it's Devers to the Cubs?
It's not, no. Devers is like a top 5 hitter in baseball right now.
We do need a third baseman.
You do. And you know what, though? I saw like a fake like Bleacher Report trade.
Yeah,
it was
same.
Like Shaw. I think Moises was in there too.
I think you're right.
And
this was a couple weeks ago when there was like, I'm not moving to first base.
Yeah.
That whole era.
And I still wouldn't do it. But like Shaw, who's local here, Moises, and like 2 other prospects. But again, no, it's fucking Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
But I really don't know what they're going to do. I think my gut tells me they DFA Story.
Okay.
Move move Marcelo Mayer to short, Rafael at second. The outfield is Duran, Abreu, Anthony, wherever you want to put him.
Right.
Because Rafael can win a Gold Glove in any fucking position he wants. For some reason, he's just got the give. But they can't even like he's signed for a bit too, Rafaela. So I'm very curious. 1, to how Campbell does at first base.
Yep.
And 2, just like there's got to be, because like the Red Sox are struggling. They're not out of it by any means because they're winning the games they need to win. But it's just like it's so frustrating to have not see the best 9 out there when like it's so clear that Anthony is one of the best 9 players. It's just so hard to find out where to put him. If this was softball, 4 outfielders. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been telling you to hold Anthony since you're.
It's not just you. I mean, internally, I'm like, man, I hate to like drop him, and then like next week they're like, oh, he's coming up. Especially with my TGFBI team, just like riddled with injuries. But that's here nor there. I think if anyone is still holding Anthony at this point, I think you almost just have to at least hold him till like the All-Star break at this point, right? Like, like I said, my fear is I drop him, and then next week someone's bidding $250 of TGFBI money or Fab money on Roman Anthony that I had on my bench for the first 2 months and decided to drop him. I don't know. Let's go to the next guy here. Jac Caglianone, first baseman for the Royals. The 10th ranked prospect in baseball, and the Royals' #1 prospect, was just recently promoted to AAA. At AA so far this year, he was slashing 322, 394, 553 with 9 home runs and 43 RBIs. He gets one step closer to the big leagues. Unfortunately, I just don't know how quickly he gets the call. I think he will at some point this summer. I don't know if I'm stashing him anywhere in any league just because first base is pretty deep already. And I don't even know where the Royals don't really have a hole for him at first base or DH. So I just don't know where, kind of similar to Roman Anthony. I don't know where, barring some sort of injury, I don't know where Caglianone fits into this Royals lineup. I mean, maybe if you want to wait a couple weeks and then add him, but I can't stash him right now in any format. Maybe in like super deep leagues, or mono leagues, but I mean, obviously Dynasty, I'm all in on him, but
yeah. I don't think this is a redraft guy. Especially now we're seeing Kurtz, who's better than Jack, isn't like exactly like going crazy. And we got Vinny. Like, I don't know what they would do in Kansas City with Vinny P, if they'd move him to DH, if Jack would
Right.
DH, kind of where that falls out. But yeah, this is not someone I'm targeting. This would be like, I'd rather have someone that's contributing now. Like, just as an example, like for like redraft, like Lourdes Gurriel, who isn't amazing by any means,
Right.
but I'd rather have his production now than being like, well, maybe Jac Caglianone will be good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I can't, go out there consciously and be like rostering Caglianone, even in like deep leagues right now. Even if, he is the 10th ranked prospect in baseball, he's been performing super well. Just don't see it happening just quite yet. He was just drafted last year. So not that that's not out of the realm of happening, but I feel like if you don't have a need for him, give him a little bit more seasoning in the minor leagues. Jump over to our next guy here. And the only reason I bring this guy up is he's not a super highly ranked prospect, but Christian Moore was one of those guys that was like similar to Roman Anthony, like he might make the lineup out of spring training. So I think a lot of people may have been rostering him or drafting him and stashing him. But he is a 60th ranked baseball prospect in baseball. He was just the 8th overall pick in last year's draft, same draft as Jac Caglianone. So far, AAA though, he's showing pretty much why he's not in the big leagues and why he didn't make the spring training or the team out of spring training. He's only slashing 234, 342, slugging 323. He's only got 7 extra base hits with one of those being a home run. He's striking out almost 30% of the time. I mean, he does have a 103 WRC plus, so it's not awful, but he's just very average right now. And he's pretty much done nothing to warrant any promotion, even AAA, let alone the majors. So if you're somehow still stashing Christian Moore, it is now time to cut bait on him. He's definitely not making this team. He probably won't even make this team at all this year, unless for some ungodly reason he goes off and just like somehow turns it around and just goes off the chain. But yeah, there's no need to stash Christian Moore anymore. And I don't know why. I know there was a super hot September, and then also spring training was what got those rumors going about him making the opening day roster. But that ain't happening. That ain't happening this year at all. I don't see any world in which he makes this Angels lineup. Although I don't know. The Angels are weird, man. They call people up for no reason. You can definitely get a September call up, but not anytime soon. All right.
Nah, I've got really nothing to say.
Like I say, the only reason I really brought him up is because I know a lot of people may have drafted and stashed him.
Yes.
And that's the only reason I bring him up. And he's no longer needed as a prospect stash. One guy I think that we need to talk about here and we'll end off the pod here on a high note, and that's the prospect we do need to be stashing, and that's Bubba Chandler of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball right now. At AAA is enjoying great success. That's my Borat impression.
Is that a Borat?
Yeah. And he's got 9 starts so far. He's got a 2.17 ERA, a 1.1 WHIP, 56 strikeouts and 16 walks, and 37 innings pitched. He's got a batting average against him just 197. I mean, he should be up in the big leagues any day now. I don't know why he's not yet. Maybe because Pirates are just kind of middling team again. But right now they currently have Cameron Mlodzinski and Andrew Heaney at the back end of the rotation, albeit Heaney has somehow revived his career and been pretty decent for them. But I don't know how you keep running out Cameron Mlodzinski. I mean, I'm guessing it's pretty much just not if, but when at this point Bubba Chandler gets called up. He deserves to be in that rotation. We've seen this time and time again, right? I mean, the Pirates, that's all they do is just churn out these pitching prospects, and then in 2 years they'll be on another team. But for if you somehow, or even in probably 12-team leagues, if Bubba Chandler's on your team and you have roster flexibility or bench spots available, absolutely go grab Chandler today.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, especially with, I think it was reported yesterday, Jared Jones is seeing like another doctor about his elbow. And like, these injuries really piss me. This is going to be me just not even talking about Bubba Chandler. So Bubba Chandler, I'm in, great, love it. However, these Grayson Rodriguez, Jared Jones, I'm sure there's more, and I'm just blanking on it. These injuries that they're going to need Tommy John. Everyone knows they need Tommy John, and it's wasting 2 years. And it's such bullshit because Jared Jones is going to go under the knife maybe like July 4th.
Yep.
And then that's going to ruin 2 seasons.
Yep.
And it's just so dumb because any guy sitting at a bar drinking a Yingling in Pittsburgh would be like, he needs Tommy John in fucking March.
Shout out Yingling. We just got it in Chicago. So, but I digress.
Nice.
Continue.
Nice. I used to pound Yingling.
We just got it. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like 2 months ago.
Have you part?
I have had it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Good.
But like, I don't want to. Never mind.
No,
I don't want to go. I don't want to go off on some tangent on beer, but
I mean, I'm done with Bubba, so go off on beer, Jason.
Well, I mean, me and you enjoy beer, so I'll continue. For me, the price point just isn't worth it. Like, it's not that much better than. So around here, it's like $15 for a 12-pack. Where you can get a Miller Lite 12-pack for $9.99, and it's like the same thing basically.
Yes,
that's my point.
Yeah, I don't think I've bought anything outside of a 4-pack of anything. Like, I'll get multiple 4-packs.
Sure.
But like, I'm no longer buying the 30 rack.
Yeah.
Bud Heavies being like,
right. Yeah.
Now I'm like,
just take one and crack it and enjoy it for the night.
Yeah. So one last Celtic story. Derek White.
Wait, you never finished your topic about just the point was these pitchers need to stop waiting and getting second and third opinions.
Yes, and just get Tommy John.
I agree. We've seen it time and time again. Nowadays, the research has shown, and we've seen it firsthand. Go get Tommy John. You'll come back as strong, if not stronger. You
should get drafted. Get Tommy John.
Exactly. Unless you throw like 90, then you don't have to worry about it.
Unless you're Noah Cameron, don't.
Yeah. All right, hit us with that Celtics story before we get out of here.
Final Celtics bit. Derek White has a partnership with Sam Adams Brewing. Has his Derek White ale.
Did you post something on your story about this?
I did.
Did you
it's
drink
a
one?
delight.
You had one, right?
You had one? I've been drinking them all postseason.
I think I saw on your Instagram you posted a picture of it. Nice. Yeah.
Big.
How was it?
It was 11 out of 10.
That's a great way to end it right there. Yeah. All right, Nick. Another week of baseball down. Keep it going. We'll talk next week.
Can't wait.
See ya.